Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the crypto market is pumping as Bitcoin just pumped over $1,000 instantly because of massive Bitcoin news today, which I'll talk about in just a moment, so definitely stick around. First of all, starting off with the massive Bitcoin news today, because today Grayscale just won their lawsuit against the SEC regarding their Bitcoin spot ETF. But it is important to understand that this does not mean that the spot Bitcoin ETF has actually been approved, at least as of right now, because essentially previously the SEC had denied Grayscale in converting their BTC fund, their GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin ETF, and basically Grayscale did not obviously like that, and so essentially Grayscale entered this lawsuit against the SEC to essentially appeal that decision. And so right now, considering Grayscale has now won this lawsuit, this basically means Grayscale is no longer denied, and instead they can reapply for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And so once again, this does not mean that a spot Bitcoin ETF has now been approved, and this does also not guarantee that Grayscale will actually launch a spot Bitcoin ETF, but what it does mean is that we are one major step closer towards a potential spot Bitcoin ETF. And of course, Grayscale is not the only institution looking towards launching a spot Bitcoin ETF. There's also other major companies like BlackRock, for example, managing trillions of dollars that are also looking towards spot Bitcoin ETFs. And if you don't already know, the difference between a spot Bitcoin ETF and a regular futures Bitcoin ETF is basically with a spot Bitcoin ETF, you have to actually buy actual Bitcoin to back that ETF if there's demand for the ETF. And so what that does is obviously put the price of Bitcoin higher and higher with more demand for the ETF. And when you consider the fact that there's companies like BlackRock in the mix with trillions of dollars assets under management that are applying for these spot Bitcoin ETFs, it goes to show that there is demand out there waiting for these spot Bitcoin ETFs to go ahead and buy more Bitcoin, because these major companies like BlackRock are not going to waste their time filing for spot Bitcoin ETFs if they do not see any demand for spot Bitcoin ETFs. And so once again, this does not mean a spot Bitcoin ETF has launched right now, but it is one major step closer towards spot Bitcoin ETFs in the US, which is obviously good news. This is major bullish news for the price of Bitcoin. But anyway, now getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, looking at the Bitcoin chart, this is on the 4-day time frame, and right now, as I've been saying almost every day since the very beginning of this year, the price of Bitcoin is still technically within a much larger multi-month long bullish trend, because at least as of right now, we're still technically forming significant higher lows and higher highs here on the larger timeframes. And on top of that, if you're looking at this super trend indicator, once again, as I've been saying since the very beginning of this year, this is still sitting in the green, indicating a much larger bullish trend. And the point of invalidation for this super trend indicator would be a confirmed break back below around $25,000 with confirmation, like a 4-day candle close, but ideally weekly candle closes back below 25K in order to confirm a reversal signal in this 4-day Bitcoin super trend indicator from green back to red. And also, of course, if we see a confirmed break back below 25K, that would also confirm a lower low on the larger timeframes, which would be another bearish confirmation signal. But obviously, as of right now, we have not yet seen that. So at least for now, this larger bullish trend is technically still in play. But obviously, more recently, over the last 1 month or so, we have seen this bearish divergence play out in the somewhat shorter term, which is why we have seen a lack in bullish momentum within this bullish trend over the last 1 month or so. And if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin chart, of course, we previously had this bearish divergence here on the daily time frame. And like I've been saying almost every day since around $30,000, this means we have a lack in bullish momentum, which means we're likely going to see either some sideways price action, if not bearish price action. But right now, we are potentially now seeing the invalidation of this previous bearish divergence on the daily time frame, because right now, as of recording this video, the daily Bitcoin RSI is finally beginning to see a breakout above this descending line of resistance, which is actually starting to potentially potentially form a new higher high in the daily Bitcoin RSI. And obviously, this is happening just after the daily Bitcoin RSI just formed some new higher lows after reaching into oversold territories. And on top of that, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, this is now crossing in the bullish direction, which is something I've talked about over the last few days, telling you that this bullish cross is getting closer. And right now, this is now happening, showing some bullish momentum returning on the daily time frame. And so essentially, if these signals confirm with daily candle closes, because we still need to actually confirm these signals on the daily time frame, then in that case, those would be signals pointing towards potentially a short-term trend reversal from short-term bearish back to short-term bullish. But remember, all of these short-term trends are still currently occurring within a much larger bullish trend that has remained the case since the beginning of this year. And what's interesting is right now we are seeing that bounce in the price of Bitcoin from when the RSI entered into oversold territories roughly around a week ago. And once again, usually when the RSI enters into oversold territories, especially on the daily time frame, that means we have somewhat limited room to the downside, at least in the short term. And so we're due to see either some sideways price action or bullish price action over the coming days or weeks. And obviously it's been around 1 to 1.5 weeks since that happened. And this is precisely what we are now seeing. First of all, some sideways price action, and now some bullish price action. But once again, as I've also said over the last few days, this signal all by itself is not necessarily enough to fully confirm a trend reversal from bearish back to bullish. And so once again, for that, in order to actually confirm a short-term trend reversal here, we need to see those other signals confirm, like this bearish divergence invalidated on the daily time frame with a breakout in the RSI, and also a confirmed bullish cross with a daily candle close here in the MACD in order to help confirm more of a trend reversal in the short term. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now we are seeing a perfect bounce from this area of support sitting in between around 1640 to 1.7k. And as for resistance on the daily time frame, we still have this area of resistance sitting in between around 1770 to 1820. So just keep in mind, even though we are seeing some bullish price action in the immediate short term, we still obviously have some important resistance above the current price. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, first of all, the daily Ethereum MACD, just like Bitcoin, is now crossing bullish. But with that being said, we still need to see a daily candle close in order to actually confirm this bullish cross in place in the MACD. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, this is potentially breaking the downtrends that we've seen over the last 1 month, because once again, over the last 1 month, the RSI has been forming lower highs and lower lows. And this has been the case all the way down into oversold territories, which I've been talking about over the last 1 week or so. And once again, usually when the daily Ethereum RSI enters into oversold territories or gets very close to oversold territories, this basically means we have limited room to the downside, at least in the short term. And so we're due to see either some choppy sideways price action, if not a bullish relief in the shorter term, talking about the coming days or weeks. And obviously right now, as I'm recording this video, this is precisely what we are now seeing. But as I've also said over the last few days, this is helping to reset the RSI on the daily time frame, which technically gives us some more room to the downside later on, which is why this signal by itself is not necessarily enough to fully confirm a short-term trend reversal from short-term bearish back to short-term bullish. And so for that, in order to become more confident that we're really flipping bullish again in the short term, we need to see other signals, like for example, actually confirming this bullish cross in the MACD with a daily candle close, and also confirming some higher highs and higher lows again in the RSI. And ideally, in order to become more confident that we're really flipping bullish again, if we can flip previous resistance into new support, or at the very least break above important resistance in the price action, that is also another signal that would point towards a bullish trend reversal here in the short term. And as for support and resistance, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool, we have this important resistance up here sitting at around 1820. And as for important support, we have this 38.2% Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at around 1640. And below that level, we have the 50% retracement level sitting at around 1510 to 1520. And now, if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the downside, to the upside, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily make money during choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.